All right, so what we're doing now is we are going to be terminating our swivels on our wire dipsies. So I have a, let's see, this is a 10-foot Telora wire rod with a 700 LC reel spooled up. This is still last year's wire, so you can see it's got its memory in it and stuff. Just need to make sure that there's no kinks. I'm threading this through the guides. So I always strip off, I don't know, this is probably 10 feet coiled up to one. So strip off some, give it a clean cut. And when we first started doing this with wire dipsies, we had crimps and all kind of stuff going on. It doesn't have to be that complicated, it's a lot simpler than that. We do a couple things different, I think, than other boats. So the first thing we string on is a rubber bead. So I have orange beads, or red, and I have green beads. And these are soft rubber beads, somewhat large. So I'll do a green one here. And I do the red and green based off of the port or starboard side that these dipsies are gonna be running. So I'm gonna put a bead. The next thing I'm gonna put is a piece of tubing. So this is actually just fish tank tubing, and we started buying tubing after buying a few of the Dreamweaver meat rigs. And those of you that fish those know that it has a treble hook, and then it has a piece of tubing that's over the top of the hook, and it kind of protects the leader, and then they get their meat rigs. So we tied up our meat rigs like that, and I have a ton of tubing left over. And I'll show you as soon as I get this through. Since this has memory, it's kind of tougher to get through. Get another clean cut. But it is a lot easier to do here than it is on the water, especially if it's rough out. So I'm just gonna force that through. Almost, there we go. All right, and then I'm gonna put another green bead. This one's not rubber, this one's just a plastic bead. I kind of like to save the rubber ones. They're harder to come by, and I got a ton of these. Get another clean cut. I got a ton of these plastic beads. All right, so in essence what we have then is rubber bead first, fish tank tubing, plastic bead. All right, so now this is probably the easiest knot to tie. So basically we're just gonna make a loop. We're gonna take our swivel, stick this loop through the swivel, and bring the swivel back through. And that's all there is to it. Pull it tight, and that is it. That's gonna hold that dipsy. It's not gonna go anywhere, it's not gonna slip. Okay, so now we have this tag end, right? A little bit too long to work with, I'm gonna make it shorter. So I'm gonna take this tag end and just tie it on itself around here. And I made it a little short to work with, but it'll be all right. And I'll put some pictures on of this as well. Come on now. There we go. So we just took the tag end and tied a little overhand knot on itself just to keep it clean and out of the way. That doesn't look too pretty, so we're gonna snip this extra part off. Still doesn't look too pretty, and then I'm gonna slide this bead over the top of that knot. Now when you're using the beads, you have to make sure that they got a little bit larger hole in them. Okay, then I'm going to slide the tube over the knot and then the bead. So in essence, that's what we end up with. Swivel, knot, bead, tubing, rubber bead. And we used to just use a rubber bead, and the reason we used a rubber bead is so when somebody cranked it up to the tip, that swivel tip on these wire rods, it made me feel safer from not damaging that tip. You know, and when somebody new is reeling one of these in, or somebody that's done it before, you know, we say reel it up to the bead, but don't let the bead touch the tip. Well, inevitably it touches the tip from time to time, and that's what this tubing ends up being, is a little shock absorber. So if they do reel it up to the tip, it's gonna have a little, almost like a spring action to it, to where you don't have to worry about that line breaking, because there's no stretch in this. So that's how we rig these up. To store them, I'm going to reel this all the way to the tip. All right, this particular section is nice and straight, so reel it all the way to the tip. We don't store it like this in the boat. We just keep it in the boat. We would just hook it on this on this new hook keeper. We're going to break it in half. Well, first off, what we use is these swim noodles. So it's very important that this line does not kink. So we have a swim noodle, and then we have these Berkeley cinches. So this is the longest one. Of course, there's no size on this, but it's the largest one. There's, oh, it says large. And then the smaller one is the small one. I'm guessing it says small. So first thing we'll do is break this in half. And then we cut these swim noodles where they go on to this guide. There's still about maybe an inch or two here that we don't, so this tip's not exposed. And then what we do is just take this wire, wrap it right around the swim noodle. This might drag up a little bit. A little bit more. I think we got this tip from Great Lakes Angler years ago. All right. So we have the wire coming over the swim noodle, doing a loop around, so there's no sharp bends or kinks in it. And then we have it down here. We want the tip just a little bit inside of the butt of the rod. And the first thing I'll do is take this cinch, wrap it around here, and stick it through. So it's not going anywhere. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing, except for I'm going to go over the swim noodle. And this is the perfect size, it's not too tight. Put that in, and there's our rod ready for storage. So the only thing we do now is loosen the drags, we are done and ready to put it away.